Well, good evening. I am Arthur Sinclair Esquire,
And I am Sir Anthony Bogle,
and today we are going to be reviewing the number 7.
which is one less than 8. Now, 7 is an interesting film where Brad Pitt plays a young man who is living the American dream, which is a metaphor for a nightmare. Now, at the beginning of this film, we see that Morgan Freeman is, of course, playing himself with his Cookie Crisp cereal-looking
let's
face.
stop here before we advance any further. We are going to have spoilers in our dialogue, so if you have not seen this film, it is recommended that you do not watch it. Pardon me for my interruption.
When you watch 7, it starts you off at 93. When it puts you in a murder mystery where a fat man is found after having been drowned in spaghetti. He inhaled noodles up his nose. He died
I do
by
declare,
Chef Boyardee.
I thought that old fat man was my great Aunt Betty, but then I realized when Brad Pitt pinched her fat little earlobes and pulled her head up from that bowl, I knew that was not my aunt. And I was relieved.
I always thought that the movie 7 was actually going to be about James Adams. I don't even know who that is.
Isn't he that? No, I'm thinking of Samuel Adams. The
He
beer
was
man.
the second president, right?
I think so.
I love John Adams' beer, though.
Speaking of Kevin Spacey, he does look like a pedophile in this film more than ever in his existence. He looks like some sort of entomological... I don't even know what I just said, but he looks like an android with his Q-tip bald head and talking all sophisticated.
Now, I would frankly give many good complaints about this film, and there's a particular reason for that. First of all, it's about the Bible, but it fails to... You know it's about the Bible, the 7 deadly sins?
Of course.
It fails to mention anything about Jesus.
If it's about the Bible, Jesus should automatically be in it. So why would it need to state that, Anthony? Your logic is making my earlobes erect. Overall, I thought 7 was a fairly thrilling film. There were some parts where I felt my nipple hairs stand up and tie themselves in little knots.
My favorite part of 7 were all the references to the Battle of the Bulge. There were 3 of them. The first one being when they go into that BDSM sex store and they ask the man who makes the suits about this harness he made that has a strap-on dildo, but it's a combat knife.
What's a dildo?
Dildo?
Yeah.
It's like a stale baguette.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what the French call it. Anyway, there wasn't a baguette on the harness. There was a knife. And I actually thought to myself, this movie is sick. It's inspired by the Bible. It only teaches you that to indulge in the 7 deadly sins will inspire somebody to be a serial killer. What I also hate about the movie is, how the fuck is it that all in the same world, Brad Pitt goes from like being a guy who fights Nazis and then like World War II ends one way and then the other it's different, where he dies in a tank, and then it's like, then all of a sudden you have Brad Pitt all the way in the 90s, and he is exactly the same age, and they never give any explanation for that. Total plot hole, plot convenience right there in its finest. I hate that. It's like the prequels all over again.
What I don't get is, I thought Morgan Freeman was God. And does he just come down to play detective man and act like he's retired?
Wait, we didn't watch Bruce Almighty, right? Daniel, did we watch Bruce Almighty?
No. We watched 7. That movie with that sick little dwarf guy. No, wait, that's a different one. No, it's that movie with
Is that Snow White?
Yeah, that's
With the 7 dwarves.
Yeah, that's
Oh, that's my. Oh, shit. See, I thought it was something different, Arthur. I thought we watched Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs and how it's about how Mary was apparently frozen and then Bruce Almighty wrote the Bible, right?
No.
And then 7 was about God becoming a detective to stop Satan, who took the form of a serial killer. Except the problem, as I said, is that Brad Pitt, they don't explain why he's the same age as he was in World War II when he was in a tank. And then they also, they make these devices.
I think
it depresses me that I cannot acquire that
the
for
great
myself.
wizard Charles Manson caused a time slip, which sent back Brad Pitt in time. The great wizard I told you about many moons ago.
I was in Florida when you did that episode.
That's right.
I took 7 shits this morning.
Well, I was confused as they were running out in the field and a news helicopter or something was following them, and a random UPS man runs along and says, "I got a package for you." And I was like, "What's in the box?" This internal dialogue in my head, narrated by Morgan Freeman, kept asking, "What is in the box?" Overall, I would recommend this movie. However, if you're terrified by an android Kevin Spacey, I highly recommend that you avoid it at all costs, because he will haunt your dreams with his cue ball looking head.
Brad Pitt's apparently a fucking time traveler. And also, it turns out that you can indulge in all the 7 deadly sins and get murdered by a serial killer. But you can be a pedophile like Kevin Spacey and be in a fucking movie.
And another thing I would like to add, this film has made me terrified of opening boxes. I am terrified to use a urinal because Kevin Spacey's serial killer face may pop up from the depths of that watery well where my urine goes.
And I really hate the fact that they don't fucking explain how Brad Pitt is the same age. Good night.
Good night.
Rest easy.